Welcome back. You sent over this really interesting article from the Economic Daily News, and it outlines some predictions for Taiwan in 2025. So we'll be taking a deep dive into 5 key forecasts and focusing particularly on the potential ramifications from the recent U.S. presidential election.
Yeah, these forecasts, they really touch upon some major global events, and they have the potential to really seriously impact Taiwan's future. One that really struck me was the article's first prediction about a quick end to the Russia-Ukraine war.
Yeah, that definitely caught my eye, too. It suggests the war could end very soon after the new U.S. president takes office, possibly even before the inauguration. That's a pretty bold statement, would you say?
It is, yeah. It's based on expert opinions that are highlighted in the article. Basically, they think the new president has the potential to really de-escalate U.S.-Russia tensions, and this could lead to a shift in focus towards China. In fact, the article even mentions that there might be some high-level discussions already happening behind the scenes, and then it introduces this idea of a strategic retreat by China.
Interesting. So what exactly would a retreat like that look like for China, and what implications could it have for Taiwan?
Well, a strategic retreat in this context basically suggests that China might prioritize solidifying relationships with neighboring countries, particularly in Asia. It doesn't mean they're abandoning their ambitions, but more like a recalibration of focus, and that could directly impact Taiwan's geopolitical landscape. The article also goes into some potential economic repercussions stemming from the new president's history with tariffs and anticipates further strain on U.S.-China trade relations. That adds another layer of complexity for Taiwan.
Yeah, it's amazing how intertwined global politics and economics really are. Let's move on to the second prediction. This one focuses on globalization in reverse. The article even poses the question, could this lead to a rift between Taiwan and TSMC?
That's a big one. The article uses this really clever analogy. It says, when TSMC's business interests and Taiwan's national interests are aligned, there's a strong, mutually beneficial relationship. However, if those interests diverge, friction could arise.
And the article suggests that that kind of divergence is possible.
Yeah, there are concerns about how the new U.S. president could impact TSMC's investments in the U.S., which are significant, even with the existing government subsidies. The article highlights the possibility of new stipulations or even delays in funding, and that creates uncertainty for TSMC and, by extension, for Taiwan's economy.
Yeah, you can really feel that uncertainty. And then there's this interesting detail the article mentions. TSMC's upcoming board meeting is scheduled to take place in Arizona. Why is that significant?
Well, it definitely raises questions about TSMC's evolving relationship with the U.S. Is this a sign of a strengthening bond, potentially at the expense of its ties with Taiwan? It's something to watch closely for sure.
It seems like we're seeing a potential power shift happening globally.
Oh.
Let's move on to the third prediction. This one is all about interest rates. The article says we should get ready for some serious volatility, and a lot of this is because of the new U.S. president.
Right. The article really emphasizes how the new president's policies could fuel inflation, which would complicate the Federal Reserve's plans to cut interest rates. Initially, 8 rate cuts were expected over 2 years, but that projection's been revised down to 6 following the election.
So any relief from high interest rates might be shorter-lived than we hoped.
Exactly. And the timing is really key here. The article points out that those rate cuts are projected to stop right when the new president's policies are taking effect, which could create some serious market turmoil.
That is concerning. Now, what about the impact on Taiwan's economy in all of this? The article actually gives a seemingly paradoxical forecast. It predicts positive economic growth for Taiwan in the near term, despite the potential global turmoil.
Yeah, it does seem counterintuitive at first, but there is a logical basis for this prediction. The article explains that the new president's initial focus on tax cuts and increased spending could potentially boost demand in the U.S., which would then benefit Taiwan's exports in the short term.
I see. But what about those looming tariffs we talked about earlier? The article mentioned there might be a delayed impact.
Right, that's a key point. The full effects of those tariffs might not actually be felt until 2026. This creates what the article calls a jump high, crouch low scenario for Taiwan's economy, meaning a burst of growth followed by a potential slowdown.
So kind of a mixed bag for Taiwan on the economic front. The article does end on a hopeful note, though. It emphasizes Taiwan's continued strength in the AI industry. Could this be a silver lining amidst all the potential challenges?
Absolutely. Even if the U.S. market becomes less dominant, there's huge potential for continued growth in AI exports. The article highlights this rising concept called sovereign AI, which Basically means countries wanting to keep control of their data within their borders. This trend could really benefit Taiwan's AI industry in the long run.
So despite the uncertainties and potential challenges ahead, Taiwan's expertise in AI could position it as a crucial player in the evolving global landscape. That's an encouraging thought.
Yeah, it's really fascinating to think about how these predictions could kind of interact and influence one another.
Like a chain reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Like imagine the potential end of the Russia-Ukraine war happening at the same time as this shift in U.S. focus towards China. What could that mean for trade relations that are already strained? And how would that impact Taiwan, especially with China potentially pursuing this strategic retreat and strengthening ties with other Asian nations?
It's a lot to consider. And then we add on top of all that the potential volatility in interest rates. If the Fed's plans get derailed by the new president's policies, could that lead to even broader economic instability around the world?
Definitely a possibility. And wouldn't that instability make Taiwan's jump high, crouch low economic scenario even more precarious?
Right. It's a delicate situation. But, amidst all this uncertainty, the article does end on a pretty optimistic note, highlighting Taiwan's potential in AI.
Yeah, I think that's important to focus on the potential bright spots. The article really makes the argument that Taiwan's AI industry is uniquely positioned for continued growth, even with all the global uncertainty.
So let's delve into that a little further. The article mentions sovereign AI countries wanting to control their own data. How does that benefit Taiwan?
Well, if countries are looking to develop their own domestic AI capabilities, they'll need access to technology, expertise, and talent.
And Taiwan, with its really strong semiconductor industry and its skilled workforce, is in a good position to provide those resources.
Exactly. It's like having a product that's in high demand. And it's not just about hardware either. Taiwan's got a growing reputation for AI software and research too.
So while some countries are pulling back from globalization, Taiwan's AI sector could actually do really well in this new landscape.
That's a key takeaway. Even with all the geopolitical and economic uncertainty, there are still opportunities for growth and innovation. Now, I want to hear from you, the listener. What are your thoughts on these predictions for 2025? Do any of them surprise you?
Yeah, and what opportunities or challenges do you see for yourself, your business, or your industry? These are big questions. There are no easy answers.
But one thing's for sure, awareness of these potential trends and critical thinking about their implications are crucial. And being prepared to adapt is also essential.
Yeah, we're all navigating this complex and constantly evolving world. The more informed and prepared we are, the better equipped we'll be to face the future.
And don't forget, you can find links to the full article and other resources in the show notes.
We want to give you the tools you need to explore these ideas further and come to your own conclusions. Because in the end, the future isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we all have a role in shaping.
Exactly. What other deep dives are you curious about? Let us know. We're always searching for new topics to explore. For now, let's continue dissecting these 2025 predictions. There's so much more to uncover. Let's go back to that intriguing detail about TSMC's board meeting in Arizona.
Yeah, that board meeting in Arizona, it really felt significant. The article doesn't explicitly say it, but could this be a sign that TSMC is starting to shift its focus, even just a little bit, toward the U.S.?
It's possible. TSMC is facing pressure from the U.S. government to invest more there, so holding this board meeting on U.S. soil, it could be a way for them to show their commitment.
I see, kind of like demonstrating how invested they are and how responsive they are to U.S. concerns. But how might this play out in Taiwan? There's already some anxiety about the possibility of talent drain with skilled workers moving overseas.
Yeah, and those concerns could intensify if it looks like TSMC's leadership is prioritizing U.S. operations. It's a tough balance to strike.
It is, and this is all happening as the global landscape is shifting. If globalization is really reversing like the article predicts, what does that mean for Taiwan's economic future?
Well, Taiwan's success has always been built on being a global hub for manufacturing and trade. So if those models are disrupted, they'll need to adapt. The article does suggest one potential path forward: AI.
Right. Taiwan's strength in AI could really be its saving grace. As more and more countries try to develop their own sovereign AI capabilities, Taiwan could be a key partner, supplying technology, expertise, and talent.
Exactly. It's a chance for Taiwan to move up the value chain, transitioning from a producer to a designer and an innovator.
That's a big shift. But the article also mentioned that the full impact of the new U.S. president's policies, particularly the tariffs, might not be felt until 2026.
Right, and that delayed effect makes things even more challenging. It's like knowing a storm is coming, but you don't know exactly when or how bad it's going to be.
So how can Taiwan prepare? The article doesn't really offer any concrete solutions, but I think we can still draw some key takeaways from it.
For sure, I think diversification is crucial. Taiwan needs to reduce its reliance on any one market, including the U.S. So exploring new trade partnerships and investment opportunities in other regions is going to be essential.
I agree. And investing in innovation is important too. Taiwan's AI advantage is valuable, but they need to keep pushing the boundaries, developing new technologies and applications to stay ahead.
Yeah, complacency is definitely not an option in a world that's changing so rapidly. As we look ahead, it seems like 2025 and beyond could be a period of both challenges and opportunities for Taiwan.
We're seeing these shifting global power dynamics, evolving trade patterns, and accelerating technological advancements. And amidst all of that, Taiwan has the potential to forge a new path, leveraging its strengths and embracing innovation.
I think this deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
That's our goal, to break down complex topics in a way that's informative and engaging, and hopefully leave you with more questions than answers.
The best kind of learning involves active engagement, being curious and willing to challenge your own assumptions. So we encourage you to explore the links in our show notes, do some more research, and keep the conversation going. What insights resonated with you? Share your thoughts in the comments or reach out to us directly.
We really value your input. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep diving deep.